welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this episode of Mark's Garage. The winter riding season for motorcycles here is over, and there is not a lack, though, of motorcycle-related topics. And just here in the last couple of days, I was reading about KTM and their struggles and the possible demise of that organization. That would be just amazing for sure. But today's episode here that I want to talk about is kind of unique, and it deals with a bike comparison. So several of you, a couple of the subscribers had asked me not too long ago if I would please do a bike comparison. And so I'm agreeing to do that. And the bikes that we're going to do a comparison on, and we're going to talk about pros and cons and some of the features and differences and ride characteristics of that. We're going to be talking about the Honda Goldwing. We're going to be talking about the Yamaha FJR. And we're going to be talking about the BMW R1250. So we're going to be doing some comparisons there. And again, we'll look at key features, pros and cons, and that kind of thing. So thanks for coming along today. That's next. All right out of the gate here and comparing motorcycles, let's start with engine and transmission. And they're all a little bit different for sure. 3 different unique engine designs. Starting with the Honda. Of course, that's a flat 6, horizontally opposed, 1,833 cc's. It's got roughly 120 horsepower, about 115 foot-pounds of torque. It's just a really great motor. And the bike that I have is mated to the dual clutch transmission. And that is really unique. And I can remember the first time, this goes back about 5 years ago at least, first time I took a ride on a DCT transmission. It was a Goldwing. I was so impressed with that. And so that is just a terrific way to be able to enjoy the road in front of you on a large touring bike, is to have that bike basically shift by itself for you based on all kinds of conditions. You can also put it in manual mode if you want to shift at the whim of your left hand, the triggers up and down when you want to. But I'll tell you what, great transmission. All right, the Yamaha engine and transmission. So the Yamaha's got an inline 4, 1,298 cc. It's about 140 horsepower. It is mated to a shaft drive, and it's got a 6-speed manual transmission. And they went to the 6-speed in 2016. It used to be a 5-speed. It's nice having the extra gear for sure. And it shifts very smooth. The engine sound is just really unique, almost like a turbine. So pretty cool, and great job by Yamaha. With regard to the BMW R1250 RT, okay, we've got another unique motor. So it is their boxer motor, twin cylinder, 1,200 and let's see, I think 45 cc's, not quite 1,250. But it also has variable valve timing. So once you get up to around 4,000 RPM, you'll feel a little bit of a shift in power output. It changes the valve timing, and it will definitely kind of kick it up into one more realm of power. And so that's pretty unique. It's also mated to a shaft drive, and very unique sound. And it's got plenty of power on tap. It's got a lot of good snort. So across all 3 models, there's a number of convenience features that are the same, and they're certainly well liked by me. Let's start with cruise control. All the bikes have cruise control, and that is just awesome to have. They all have electric windscreens. And that's very nice to have. They all have heated grips, so that's good. So those are some of the common things across. Now let's take a look at a few of the things that are different in terms of convenience features. For the Honda Goldwing, There's a few things that are really nice, some extras. What are they? Heated seats. So for the rider and for the passenger, heated seats. That's pretty nice. You've got tire pressure monitoring system. So that's terrific. You've got Bluetooth, so you can connect with your phone. It's got a smart key. So there's a few more things there. Oh, Apple CarPlay, Android. So that's nice as well. For the BMW has a lot of nice extra features as well, and they certainly side on technology. They also have a smart key for the bike. There's central locking, so I can push one button here and lock all the bags, fuel door, all that kind of stuff. So that's nice. With the Honda key, you just walk away and it's passive, so it locks things that way. The BMW also has heated seats for rider and passenger. It has hill start assist. So if you're on a hill, it recognizes that through the IMU. And when you apply the brakes, it will stay in a locked position until you start applying throttle. And by the way, I missed that on the Honda. The Honda Goldwing also has hill start control. So what is it like moving these bikes around in Mark's garage? Because I have to do that quite a bit. And let me first tell you a little bit about the weights. So the Honda is about 842 pounds. The Yamaha is 642 pounds. And the BMW is about just a little over 600. I think 610 to 615 in that range. So as far as moving the bikes, on and off the center stands, moving them around, the Yamaha actually feels the heaviest. I think it feels the most top heavy. The bars are a little narrower, so you don't have quite as much leverage. And it just takes a little more effort and a little more care moving it, backing it, and all that kind of thing. I would say the Honda Goldwing would be next easiest to move, even though it's at that weight. It's got low center of gravity, and take your time, and it's amazing how that bike can go up on the center stand with the right technique. And I think the easiest of the three to move around the garage would definitely be the BMW. And that might be because it is the lightest weight of all of them. And it also has a low center of gravity, but it really noticeably is the easiest to move around the garage. All right, a little bit about the warranties on these bikes. So we'll start with the Honda. The Honda comes with a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty, so that's awesome. You also have the option to purchase through Honda and their program. You can purchase additional time, and typically I don't do that with motorcycles, but I did with this Honda Goldwing, my 24, because I'm planning to keep it a long time. And the dealer made me such a great offer on the extended warranty. So now I have 8 total years of coverage on that, and really happy about that. Okay, the Yamaha, that comes with a 1-year warranty. So pretty simple, straightforward. You get 1 year. You can buy additional coverage from Yamaha. And then BMW also has a 3-year warranty, but it has a mileage attached to it as well, 36,000 miles for that. Well, certainly one aspect of motorcycle ownership is maintenance, and some folks decide to work on their bikes themselves if they have that skill and aptitude. Others take it to the dealer. I'm in the camp of I like working on my bikes, and I've learned that over many years. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the maintenance on these 3 bikes. So let's talk about kind of the basics, which would be oil changes, rear differential changes, those kind of things. So the most difficult of those 3 we're talking about is actually the Honda. And the reason that's the case is that the Honda has 3 drain bolts two that relate to the crankcase, one that relates to the dual clutch transmission. It has two filters, one that relates to the crankcase, one for the dual clutch. And there's not a lot of room necessarily underneath to get at all that. So it takes a little bit, it's a little fiddly. The hardest part is putting that DCT filter back up in there with that spring and the two 8mm bolts. So that takes a little bit longer. But once you do it a couple times, you get used to it, but it does take longer. And so I'm just letting you know that from a maintenance standpoint, that one is the most difficult. I think next up would be, one other thing about the Honda when it comes to the rear diff, and that is the drain bolt for the rear diff is easy to access, and there's actually a little finger on the housing that helps direct the gear lube so it doesn't go all over the place, so that's nice. It is a little bit hard to fill the rear diff reservoir only because you're up there underneath the muffler area, so you end up getting a longer piece of hose running from your bottle to help fill that. So it's a little bit fiddly, but you can do it. Just take your time. Next up, in terms of easy to work on, would be the BMW. And there it's one drain bolt, one filter. You do have to remove the left side shroud on the BMW to get access to the oil filter. So not a big deal. There's three little Torx screws there. Take the cover off and you're all set there. The access to the rear differential on the BMW is pretty darn good. It's on that rear left-hand side, and it's a 6mm fill. It's a 45mm Torx for the drain. So that works out pretty well, and be able to get a small little bottle to fill the rear diff is pretty darn easy. And then I would say probably the easiest to work on would be the Yamaha. So there's a lot of common parts. The drain bolt is a 17mm. The bolts for filling and draining the rear diff, they're the same size, so you only need one socket. All the crush washers are exactly the same. So it makes it real simple. And you do have to loosen up the lower left fairing to be able to just get a little bit of room for the oil filter there to come off, but and for draining, so it's not a big deal. But I think I would rate the Yamaha as probably the easiest to work on, BMW second, and the Honda third for the basic maintenance. Now, there's one other thing regarding maintenance that's noteworthy here, and that has to do with taking the bike back to reset anything on the computer. So the Honda, do you need to do that? No, you don't need to do that. You can simply record it, follow the schedule, record it, keep a little log, no problem. You don't have any crazy lights coming on and telling you, hey, you got this service indicator, take it back to the dealer. The Yamaha, same way. There's no service indicator lights. You keep track of it, and you can certainly keep track of maintenance and reset a meter, but you don't have to take it back to a dealer. And then the one that you do, where there's a light that comes on, that's every time you start the bike, if you haven't taken it in to reset that, it will come up. It shows a little wrench icon, and you basically need to take that in and have the dealer reset it. So they will charge for that if that's all you're going to ask them to do, typically. But if there's something else that maybe there's some warranty work, a recall, maybe you're getting a new set of tires and it makes sense for them to do the mount and balance, then you've got that. So wanted to mention that as well. So what is it like riding these bikes? Because that's really the essence of why we buy motorcycles, is to really enjoy the ride and how it makes us feel. And I think you can do that on a lot of different bikes. But between these three bikes, I just want to talk a little bit about how they ride. So the Honda Goldwing, when I'm going to do a longer trip, for sure, the Goldwing is the one that I would select because of the overall comfort, the convenience features. It is an arrow down the road. It just runs so straight and so true. And I can ride 250 or 300 miles in a day, and that's about as far as I like to ride in one day. I can ride farther, but I don't want to. I want to also get off and enjoy the rest of the day, usually with who we're with. So I think the Honda really stands out. I've taken it to Sturgis. I've taken it to Deadwood. I've taken it down to the Ozark Mountains. I've gone to the Outer Banks and rode up to Kitty Hawk. If I'm doing a longer trip, that's the bike that I want to be on. What is it like to ride on the BMW R1250 RT? Well, it's got just a lot of really good characteristics to it, for sure. So it's a little bit sportier, but you're not so far over that you have fatigue in your arms or your hands. That's one thing that I don't like about the Yamaha going further, because I get a little fatigued with the standard setup on the Yamaha. But the BMW, if you're going to do a weekend, it's like the perfect bike to ride 2 or 3 days, 700, 800 miles, and you're going to feel really good. It's fun. It corners terrific, and it's got a lot of nice features that'll keep you comfortable. So from cruise control to the windscreen and all of that. So what is it like going for a ride on the Yamaha FJR? I'll put a link to one of the descriptions, in the description I should say, for one of the rides I did on the FJR this summer. And it certainly, ranks right up there as the most fun, the most spirited. Love the way that engine performs and sounds, and it's got a unique characteristic that the faster you ride this bike, the faster you do want to ride. And, if it's a shorter ride, certainly an afternoon or maybe one day, that's about all the farther that I want to go on it. But it feels great. It's got great performance. And if you ever get a chance to drive an FJR, you should do it, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's talk a little bit about fuel capacities and fuel mileage on these three bikes. So for the Honda Goldwing, that of all three of them actually has the smallest size tank at 5.5 gallons. And then when you move over to the Yamaha, that's got 6.6. And then the BMW also has 6.6. Okay, a little bit about mileage. So miles per gallon. The Honda, over the about 3,000 miles that I've put on the 24 model, I've averaged about 47 to 48, right in that range. And it takes, by the way, standard unleaded 87 octane, which is really nice, designed for that. The Yamaha also runs on 87 octane, and its miles per gallon is a little bit less than that. I've been averaging 43, 44, right in that range with the Yamaha. And then for the BMW, the miles per gallon is actually the best on the BMW. Maybe that has something to do with just twin cylinders and the displacement. But 51 is what I've been averaging on the BMW. So the BMW, however, does require premium fuel. So you've got to pay a little bit more at the fuel pump to fill up your tank there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else maybe that stands out of these three motorcycles that I can share with you. I think what I would say, the Honda Goldwing, just a perennial all-time winner for munching miles and having comfort, and especially if you have a passenger. The other thing happens to be with the DCT transmission, and I didn't spend a lot of time talking about that, but the DCT transmission really is a game changer for me, because it allows me to focus on what's ahead, riding the motorcycle, let everything happen in terms of shifting. And if I want to go into manual mode, all I got to do is hit the paddle shifters and I'm all set there. So I think for 2025 and a little bit of the delay here on the model announcement, For the Honda, there's probably some neat things that Honda's going to do. I hope they really hit a high water mark. We've already got a great motorcycle. So, all right, for BMW, thinking about that, for this next model year, BMW is going to be shifting to the new 1300 boxer motor. So it's going to have some updated horsepower and torque and all that sort of thing. And BMW has always made just a really quality motorcycle for sure, though I did get a letter in the mail here, and I did a story on this about the drive shaft and the update to the maintenance on the drive shaft, which was interesting. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. And as far as the Yamaha FJR 1300, it's been around for such a long time. Big updates in 2016, of course. But I just went to the Yamaha website, and it's not listed on the Yamaha website for 25, but what is listed is the Tracer 9 GT Plus. So I'm not sure if they're working on updates for that or if they're not going to offer it in this upcoming year, but check it out on the Yamaha USA website. I didn't see it, so I'm not sure yet what that means, and maybe there's some news coming around the corner. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mark's Garage and listening to the comparison from my seat on these three motorcycles. And what I would say in conclusion is they all are a little different. You know, the engines are different. The ride characteristics are a little different. The comfort is all a little different. And what I would tell you is that for me, if I was doing a longer ride, I'd be taking the Goldwing. If I'm doing an intermediate ride, maybe just for a couple of days, the BMW is perfect. And if I was doing a shorter ride, the Yamaha FJR would be my choice. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to all the subscribers out there. And as always, and until next time, take care.